Here are 3 ways that founders lie to themselves. And before I say any more, I am a 7-time funded founder with 2 exits. That just means I failed enough times to have fallen for these 3 lies myself. But this is to your benefit because I use videos like this and my entire YouTube channel to try and help founders avoid some of the catastrophic mistakes that I've made. Not to say you won't make mistakes, but I'm going to try and help you minimize the damage from those mistakes because being a founder is hard enough, let alone these 3 lies that you can fall into. Before we continue, if you appreciate this type of content, I would appreciate a like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I'm going to share in this video. And if you're joining me from startups.com or you've already been part of our community, thank you very much. I always appreciate all the support. It's been a wild ride. Let's jump into this topic. The first lie comes from fear. What happens is founders are afraid to go out there and sell their solution. So what happens is founders concoct this lie in their head that somehow their solution actually solves a problem. Because founders always start with what they call sales reluctance. And I know I've had it before. I get it. I've been afraid to go out and sell because there's a lot of insecurities involved. But there's something so liberating about the feedback that you get right after you tell a customer or a user the price and they say, no, it's not that important to me. Then you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. A lot of people say that fear stands for false expectations appearing real. And these are the lies that swirl in your head. And what founders do is instead they work on their product. They try and perfect their product, thinking to themselves, if I just get a really good product out there, it's just going to sell itself. And that's just not the case. I've fallen into this lie many times. And as soon as I got over it and I said, I'm going to start selling this product as soon as I have the idea through idea validation and customer discovery, that's helped me move forward and make sure that I'm not working on the wrong solution. I'm actually solving products that will sell, which helps me get to product market fit. The second lie comes from founders being way too smart for their own good. And I get it. Founders are incredibly intelligent, especially if you've got a deep tech founder or you've got a founder working in a real complicated situation such as programming, AI, things like that. What founders end up doing is they get so smart and in their heads this vision swirls and gets bigger and bigger of how amazing the solution is and how everybody's going to celebrate just because it exists. And they think to themselves, well, I'm smarter than the market. I'm smart enough to figure it out. They're going to want this. I know what they want and need better than they do. It takes humility to say, you know what? My users know better about what they need and what they're willing to do to change their behaviors than I do. I like to think of the quote that Henry Ford said. He said, if I would have asked my customers what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. So as the story goes, Ford had the foresight and the innovative chops to go out and say, I'm going to build you the Model T car. That doesn't necessarily work with startups. While that may be an inspirational story, it really is a one-off. What Ford could have done and what founders should do is say, I've got an idea for a car. Let me go ask them. And if they say, we just want faster horses, then I have to keep showing them that I've got an idea for a car and wait for that moment where they get enough feedback to say, now I'm going to invest in millions to build this prototype for a car because it's expensive to start building Model Ts. How that translates today is that founders go, I'm smarter. I think I know what they want and what they need. So I'm going to chunk in my $10, $20, $150,000 and I'm going to build it. And then it gets out there and nobody cares. And then founders get resentful and they get bitter about their users and they start blaming investors and advisors and the community. And it just doesn't work. If they would have gone and said, you know what, I'm going to get out of my own head, humble myself, and listen to users first, they would have avoided a lot of the heartache and the problems that caused. Founders can just get way too smart and they outsmart themselves because of the lies their intelligence creates in their head. And that often leads to hubris, this pride and stubbornness. And in the end, the startup suffers. It's important to humble yourself and approach the market with first principles thinking instead of anecdotal thinking. What happens is a founder gets a story in their head about how amazing their product is, and that story gets bigger and better every single time they're sitting in their coffee shop or their co-working space and they're plunking away at it, or they're sitting up late at night thinking, wow, this is an amazing solution. That's anecdotal thinking. Or anecdotally, they take confirmation bias to the next level and they hear someone tell them, oh yeah, I think that's a good idea. And they immediately think everybody thinks it's a good idea. But first principles thinking takes that humility to say, I'm going to approach it like a scientist. I have my opinions. I have the stories in my head, but where is the data? The data will tell me the story. So I'm going to go out and test it and figure it out. That's the reason we have idea validation and customer discovery, to make sure that you are building your product in the right way, the way that users want. Oh, and believe me, let me come clean right now. I have fallen into this lie many, many times. I have outsmarted myself. I've deceived myself so badly that I've made some massive mistakes. We are talking 8-figure mistakes, and that is not where you want to be. Now, the third lie comes from a combination of the first two, and that boils down to a problem looking for a solution. What this looks like is a founder says, I have a solution, and if I just find the right problem, this is going to go gangbusters. I'm going to be a unicorn. But immediately, you can tell if you are in a situation where you've got this solution in your mind and you are locked in and you keep changing the problem that this solution might solve, that's when you're going to get in trouble. This is the first sign that you've got a problem looking for a solution, and that's because of the lies in your head that have gotten you to this point in time where you now have to pivot and you're slowly iterating over and over again just to find that problem that you think your solution solves. And that's just backwards. They call it problem solution fit for a reason. It starts off with, this is the problem that I want to solve, and here is the solution that we're going to be building. You have to be completely prepared, which is the reason you want to use an iterative process. Make it lean. Build, measure, learn. Build, measure, learn, and keep iterating, and don't build anything until you've tested it. Because a lot of founders don't realize that I will completely scrap an MVP if it doesn't actually solve the problem. I don't look at my MVP and say, okay, what if I change the problem that this solves? Maybe this will work. Instead, I just scrap the MVP because I say, do I want to solve this problem or not? And I go back right to the problem. Now, there are times that there are spin-offs and cool ideas that I pivot into, and I go, I didn't know this. And that's part of the discovery process, which is amazing, but it's so rare. If I'm truly a domain expert in a particular problem and I've embraced that problem and I have founder market fit, I will change my solution first before changing the problem. And that's a quality of the best founders that are living in reality. Like I said, they know the truth, and the truth has set them free. They are obsessed with solving the problem, not obsessed with selling the solution. And this last one is a hard pill to swallow. Believe me, I know. After advising over 600 different founders here at startups.com and watching them flounder and flail to try and raise money or get any traction in the market, I can boil it down right to they are a problem looking for a solution. And if you're doing that, you are never going to get product market fit. Maybe you're going to be that 1 fractional percent success story that figured out this amazing pivot, but usually it doesn't work that way. It's a reason that something like 60% of startups die because they can't find product market fit. Don't fall into these 3 lies, but also remember you're in good company because I've made these mistakes over and over again. That's the reason we're going to work together. That's the reason I am the advisor that I am, to tell you the truth and put it right between the eyes and let you know what's going on from a first principles, realistic perspective. And your job is to listen, have a soft heart, thick skin, and start working your way through to that truth that's going to set you free. It's going to be amazing if you do it. By this time, there are already videos on the screen that I want you to watch next so we can continue to work together. I appreciate you spending your valuable time with me on this one. I will see you in the next video.